Hey guys, welcome back to Serial at Midnight. My name is Heath Holland. This stack represents the latest arrivals from Imprint. We've got 6 titles that are, I was looking for the common thread. They're all 1960s films. That's 5 of them are making a worldwide Blu-ray debut. We've got Randall and Hopkirk Deceased. That's part of the Imprint television range. And this is not from Imprint. This is from Viavision, the company that created Imprint. Magnum PI, the complete series on Blu-ray. This is the rebooted series, which I'm actually a fan of, and we're going to talk about later in this video. But this is the only Blu-ray box set of Magnum in the whole world. So we've got a lot of ground to cover, and I am just tremendously grateful to Imprint, Viavision, and you guys. I have covered every single Imprint release to date. Coming up on 350 titles. We go through number 349 here. I think I'm the only outlet on YouTube, maybe the only outlet in the whole world that has covered every single one of these titles. It's a tremendous privilege and a thrill and an honor, and thank you guys for making these videos appointments, right? You know, you show up when I put these up, and I really appreciate that. So normally, because Imprint titles, by the way, if I'm talking fast, I was doing a previous take of this. There's a hurricane south of me. It's not here. It's south of me. But we're getting the winds, and it knocked the power out. So now I'm like, I better get this done in case the power goes out again. So I'm trying to speed through this. Normally, because Imprint releases are limited to 1,500 units, I've tried to experiment with how I cover these. Like, I'll do an unboxing video. In the case of these, because these are so rare, these films are, most of them are worldwide Blu-rays, worldwide debuts. I wanted to talk about the movies. I wanted to have seen them so I could talk about them in an educated, first-hand way. Now, full reviews will show up at serialatmidnight.com and on my Letterboxd. Full disclosure, I've already written reviews for half of these, so they're coming. I'll link to what I've already published in the comments of this. If you want my full, unadulterated thoughts, you got to check out my reviews. There's new content at Serial at Midnight every single day. All right, without further ado, let's tackle Crossplot. This is a pretty rare Roger Moore film. It's after The Saint, but before he's cast as Bond in Live and Let Die. So this is in the middle. It's even before The Persuaders. Last month we talked about The Persuaders. It's because it's an Imprint television Blu-ray release, this box set with The Persuaders, him and Tony Curtis. Tony Curtis. This is before that, even. This is like this window after The Saint, but before these other things. It's 1969. It's a very specific look and tone. Frankly, it feels a little bit like Austin Powers. You know, it's got that sort of larger-than-life, swinging 60s London, and it's fun. He's an advertising guy who's looking for a model, a woman who overheard an assassination plot. So it walks that line that so many British things do, where it is both, it tries to be like really serious and dire and like, oh, you know, this is very dangerous, while also being incredibly silly, you know, because it swings. British, that's something that the Brits really excel at, and that's kind of what this movie is. And so it doesn't always work for me, but I like it as a Roger Moore. I like Roger Moore more outside Bond than I like his Bond movies. But as a Roger Moore guy, like The Persuaders, this is really fun. This is a really fun movie that, again, has just been very hard to see, at least on disc until now. So there's a lot of stuff here, you know, that'll be easier to read on camera. This yellow background. We've got a new 2K scan of The Inner Positive by Imprint. We've got audio commentary by Roger Moore biographer and talent agent Gareth Owens and film historian Henry Holland. Now, I'm Heath Holland. Is there a relation? And that's another double H out there. So Henry Holland, we've got to connect, and then we've got to tag team a commentary, so we get both of the double H's talking about something. I'm not going to read all of this to you guys because you can read it for yourself, but we've got a new interview with the director. We've got an interview with with actors from the movie. I mean, really lots and lots of stuff here. We've got an audio recollection that was recorded in 2010, so it's cool. They have also included, well, here, let me show you this first, because you know every Imprint release has art on the inside of the art wrap as well. They have included the exhibitor's replica, like a mini replica of the exhibitor's campaign booklet that has the advertising and you know how the movie was promoted when it was exhibited. So, for instance, Roger Moore In Crossplot, Roger Moore drives an Alfa Romeo. Roger Moore shaves with a Remington Selectronic 500. This is invaluable. This is incredible because this is the kind of, like, when I do record a commentary, this is the stuff that you're trying to find. How the movie was promoted. Check this out. The advertising blocks, the promotional materials, the all the look at this, all the posters. So I love this. Oh, I love this. Wonderful edition of a fun movie. I don't think it's a great movie. I think it's a fun movie. I do, however, the one it's a Banning, the one we're about to talk about. This is my favorite of the whole 6 film wave. Of all of these 1960s, I love the theme here too because I love the 1960s, and especially when you get off the beaten path. Of course, there are people who have seen them, but for the larger film audience, these are rare. These are hard to find. So we've got Robert Wagner, R.J., and Anjanette Comer, Jill St. John, his future wife. They married, I think, in 1990, Robert Wagner and Jill St. John. But here they are, 1967, together. We've got Guy Stockwell, James Ferrantino, Sean Garrison. Gene Hackman is not billed here, but he's got a small part in this as well. Of course, this is when he was still kind of coming up in the system. So it's not a huge part. And it's not really what we would associate his later roles to be either. But he's here. This is an interesting movie that I actually really appreciate for what it is. There's another one here that I'm going to compare it with, but we're not there yet. So it's a movie that is, so he's a golf pro. Robert Wagner is a young hotshot golf pro who has been involved in, he's basically been kind of blacklisted because there was a conspiracy. Like there was talk he was going to throw a game and split the winnings with the winner, split the earnings, the pot with the winner. Criminal stuff, like throwing a game for the money, that sort of thing. That's the background. But it's really just a young Robert Wagner making his way through a lot of beautiful women and interesting situations, navigating this life, whatever this life is. That's actually what I appreciate about this and many of the movies that are here, especially Synanon is the one I'm talking. We're going to talk about that one in a second. They're not plot driven. They're not MacGuffin driven. They're not action driven. You just spend time with characters as they try to figure out what this life is about, right? You're just spending time with someone who's going through their life. It's kind of an existentialist thing. I like that. That's one of the things that 1960s cinema started in the 50s. You could say it started before that, especially with film noir. But the 60s is kind of the pinnacle of that. It's just like, well, why don't look at a movie like The Graduate. Oh, we got to do the tour here. Beautifully presented. We have another 2K scan by Imprint. And what are we got Howard S. Berger and Steve Mitchell did a commentary here. A hole-in-one, Robert Wagner and Jill St. John remember. It's a new interview with both of them. That's incredible. And they're both in there. I know he's in his 90s. She's not too far behind him. Members only scoring banding. That's an interview with John Burlingame on the Quincy Jones score. I didn't even mention that it's scored by Quincy Jones, but of course that's going to be in the review that you read because you want to read my reviews, right? Jessica, Angie Dickinson, 1962. I was really excited about this because I love Angie Dickinson. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Like, the goal is to show you these releases. The goal is not for me to sell you these releases. I think the movies sell themselves. I don't have to love everything. I'm going to be honest with you about what I thought about the movie because my integrity, I'm a journalist, right? The journalistic integrity of how I talk about these things matters to me. I'm not just trying to sell you discs. That's not the goal here. The goal is to talk about movies. And I was really excited about this because I love Angie Dickinson, but it doesn't live up to the cover. It doesn't live up to the hype, to the promotional artwork. Listen, Angie Dickinson is, of course, beautiful. She's an honorary member of the Rat Pack. She was so tough that Sinatra and Dean Martin and Sammy Davis Jr. and whoever else you want to throw in there as part of the Rat Pack could not break through her defenses. I love that about Angie Dickinson. This Maurice Chevalier gets top billing here. He's this sort of French. He was coming off a success from a previous movie, and he's basically this like whimsical, winking narrator. Well, she goes to this village. She goes to an Italian village, and she's so beautiful that all the men love her and all the women hate her. So the women band together, and they're going to cut their husbands off. If you take my meaning, they're going to block them from getting what they want. Because the men are, it's you gotta suspend a little disbelief that this whole village would get together to do this. Also, she's a widower. Her husband is dead, and she's not trying to do any of this. She's not walking around in see-through clothes or anything. She's just living her life. She's a midwife. And what did I say? It's an American midwife whose physical attraction raises the libido of the men in a small Sicilian town, causing concern for the local women. So Maurice Chevalier is strumming on his guitar. He's like, she goes to the Italian village, and they are like, wow, what a beautiful woman. I don't love the framing device. I think there's a different version of this movie that's a better version of the movie. That version doesn't exist. This is the movie that we got, and as so, it's kind of a mixed bag. But it is beautiful, powerful, strong Angie Dickinson in 1962, and that's really something. 2K Scan, again, from Imprint. We've got a commentary by my pal C. Courtney Joyner. Angie Dickinson looking back. That's an interview with Angie Dickinson about this movie. That's incredible, too. Again, none of the movie is as overtly... This is not in the movie. There's not this whole thing that's not really there. Even this shot. That's if you expect to go in seeing some sort of like fun romp. It's kind of heavy. It's got things on its mind. This guy Synanon, really, this is the one I was the most apprehensive about because it seems so heavy. It's a 1965 film about the Synanon Rehabilitation Facility. So it's people with substance abuse, alcohol, drugs, substances. Right. This is a real place in Santa Monica that was responsible for turning the lives around for a lot of people. This movie is showing like the inner workings of this, and I was like, well, that could be very heavy. That could be, that's not entertainment. That's just like a sermon. But it doesn't feel like a sermon, and because I'm a mid-century kind of guy, it's beautiful. Like the Santa Monica Pier, they shoot on the Santa Monica Pier. There's shots, just like the whole beachfront Bayside scene, circa 1965, with that jazz score. That's all over this. It's Stella Stevens. It's Chuck Connors. It's we got Edmund O'Brien, Mr. DOA himself, is the guy that's running this whole facility. Alex Cord is really the main star here. You guys probably know Alex Cord maybe from his TV work, maybe you know his films too. Eartha Kitt, Richard Conte. It's good, and it's got enough. It's got enough like sex, drugs, and violence that it never feels like a sermon, right? It's look at this. They had this was the marketing, right? This is the original poster. They've blacked out the actual injection, and there is an actual injection. I think about audiences in 1965 and what this must have blown their minds because, of course, it was reality, but reality was rarely presented so unvarnished on the screen. At 65, you're getting away. We are getting a lot more realistic with cinema, but there's a scene where somebody shoots up and the actor, it's Alex Cord, puts the needle in his arm, and it's not a trick needle. It's not one of those like the retracting needle. Like you see the skin tear, and you see he's all in frame while he's doing it. It's like, holy cow, this is serious. So I really connected with this. I was not expecting the reaction that I had to it, and I ended up coming away from it like, it's beautiful people doing terrible things to each other. And, Stella Stevens has become a prostitute to pay for her habit. And again, it's drawn from real stories and real people. So, this really sums it up. Like, he's Chuck Connors being Chuck Connors. We've got romance with stern look of maybe disapproval. She's like, oh, like that sums up the movie in some strange way. Kind of exploitative, but I don't know. And it's so well acted, and the music is so good. There's nothing here as far as special features. It's just the movie, but it's actually highly recommended for the movie. I think the movie's really good. Woman of Straw. We've got Sean Connery and Gina Lollobrigida, however you want to pronounce it. I'm always torn because I guess the Americans pronounced it Lollobrigida, but if you were that's an Americanization of an Italian. Lollobrigida. That's an Americanization, right? I'm always torn, so I say both. And Ralph Richardson. This is as a review for this. I've already written it. Where Sean Connery. So Ralph Richardson is this wealthy old cantankerous jerk who has no value for people. He's terrible to people, but he's very rich. and Sean Connery is his nephew who wants that cash. And so Gina Lollobrigida is the nurse who's taking care of him, and they conspire a plan, a murder plan, bump off the old man, split the money. Get her to inherit it, split the money. It all sounds very Hitchcockian. The movie doesn't know what to do with the premise because it's a British film. One of the critics, I don't read a whole lot of criticism before I do my own thing because I don't want that in my head. But I did see a review for this where they basically say, like all British films, it has a hard time committing to the premise. And that's exactly what the problem is it doesn't go dark enough. This is a murder a movie about the murder plot that I told you about. That actual instance takes place at the 75-minute mark. That needs to be like 25 minutes in, or 45 at the latest, not an hour and 15 minutes in. So it's very it's too spread out for me. But at the same time, this is 1964. This is Sean Connery, the same year as Goldfinger. This is Gina Lollobrigida when she was hates it. Gina Lollobrigida when she was at arguably her peak, the early 1960s peak, when she's in Hollywood making these movies and really becoming a household name. I think she was already a household name in the 1950s, right? Because I know there's an episode of I Love Lucy where they reference Gina Lollobrigida, and that was not before. That was before the 60s. So here's the two pieces of art here. Look, it's a good movie. It's just a little bit frustrating because you think about Hitchcock movies burn up the screen. They've got purpose. They move. They're just like boom, boom. Hitchcock knows how to make you squirm. He knows how to make you uncomfortable. This movie's less interested in that. Now the director comes from the stage. That's probably got a lot to do with it. As he's looking at this, is like, well, they're out for 3 hours. There's a break so they can use the facilities, and then they're back. We have them again. It's very stagey and play-like in a way that I feel like maybe does the movie a disservice. But Sean Connery and Gina Lollobrigida, we got a commentary. And by the way, I think this is the one that's not a worldwide exclusive. I think this has been on Blu-ray before somewhere. Audio commentary by Lee Pfeiffer, Tony Latino, and Paul Scrabo. A video essay by Kat Ellinger, and an interview with prop man Dickie Bamber. The lights are flickering. Power just went out again. All right, I got to get this done. The Taming of the Shrew, Elizabeth Taylor, Richard Burton. This is a super famous movie, super famous marriage, right? So they married each other twice. Tumultuous is what we'll say. This has never had a Blu-ray release before, and that blows my mind because, of course, this is peak Liz Taylor. This is a very famous movie. I feel like this is Shakespeare, right? Because it's Shakespeare, it feels like the odd title out because these are, the other movies are very representative of the 1960s. This is Shakespeare, but I guess even through the filter of the 1960s, it's of its time. This is the Franco Zeffirelli production. Victor Spinetti is in this. If you guys know those Beatles movies where Victor Spinetti is just he worked a lot with what the heck is the name of the guy? The director of A Hard Day's Night, the running, jumping, standing still guy. Anyway, I like this movie. I don't know. It's a lot, but it's well done. Elizabeth Taylor is fantastic here. Richard Burton's good too. They're both having the time of their lives. That's the thing. They were at a point in their career. I don't think they had anything to prove to anybody, so they're really just chewing the scenery. And this is a comedy. The Taming of the Shrew is a comedy. If you don't know The Taming of the Shrew, 10 Things I Hate About You is a reworking of The Taming of the Shrew. The bet to woo the girl. I can change her. She's tough, but I can make her sweet. That's this thing. And it goes back to Shakespeare. That's a Shakespeare story. So they're just having the time of their lives. I read that the director said he had never had more fun than he had making this movie. This has nothing. It has no special features whatsoever other than the theatrical trailer. But listen, a lot of people are going to be in for it just on the cast alone. Randall and Hopkirk, deceased. Also known as My Partner the Ghost. I'll never call it My Partner the Ghost. Oh, by the way, Kenneth Cope has passed away. I'm recording this the day he passed away, the day we found out he passed away. It's crazy. The timing of this is uncanny. And rest in peace, Kenneth Cope, rest in peace. I have not even. I took the shrink wrap off of this. I took the shrink wrap off of Magnum PI. I watched the 6 movies, but I wanted to save this because these are so beautifully done. I wanted to save this for when I was on camera so we could kind of experience this together. So, Randall and Hopkirk Deceased. Somebody, by the way, somebody asked me, was it Star Wars author Adam Christopher asked me how it compares to the network version. So I don't have the network version. I have this on DVD, I think from Viavision. This has, I believe, everything that it's probably the same transfers because there's no mention made of the transfers. So it's probably the same transfers. And I believe it carries over all the special features from the network version with like a whole bunch of new special features. So if you're a features person, there's a lot more here. 7-disc limited. It's a 1-season show. It's 26 episodes. So 7 discs of the ITC Action Classic in glorious high definition, hours of special features, 120-page booklet. I'm excited about that. All right, I'm going to hold this up. Hopefully you guys can read that. I am not going to sit here and read that block of text to you guys. But let's hit some high notes. We've got an interview with Kenneth Cope, an interview with Annette Andre, interview with guest actress Jane Marrow. We've got the making of documentary. We've got, new Jeannie's Fashions, a look at the wardrobe and fashion of the series. We've got a look at the series broadcast anomalies called Whoever Heard of a Definitive Episode Order. That's interesting because these British shows, it's like all over the place. Like, is it production order? Is it broadcast order? New high definition apparitions restoration featurette, 2017 restoration trailer. So that tells you these are probably 2017 restorations. I think that's when Network's release came out. All right, here we go. Does it smell like a guitar case? It does not really. Oh, there we go. So I'm a guitar guy, right? Guitar cases have a very distinct smell. It's the glue and the material, and I always get that. Oh, you can do whatever you want, right? So this is flippable. My Partner the Ghost. Hold on, we didn't do what's under here. I guess it's going to be My Partner the Ghost. Yep. All right, that goes back on. Oh, the wind is roaring. Power, stay with me. Here's, let's see, investigations 1 through 8, 9 through 15, and 16 through 26. We'll show you. I love this show. I'm probably not going to talk too much about it. Just because, if you're new to this and you don't know what Randall Hopkirk Deceased is, this investigator's partner has died, and now he's back as a ghost, and they're solving crimes together. The investigations with a ghost is what it is, and that sounds like a CBS show now. That sounds like The Ghost Whisperer, or like they rebooted this. Just remember, this is a perennial concept that's been exploited far and wide. 5, 6, and 7. All right, but this is the thing, you guys. This is the thing. No. That's the 3rd time the power has gone out during the recording of this video. Onward we press. Randall and Hopkirk, this is the booklet. I have not looked at this because I wanted to do it with you. A lot of text here. We've got a mix of text and photos here. Let me just do this. Ooh. Oh, that's super cool. Okay. I don't want to do every single page. Oh, that's fun. This, whoever heard of a ghost dying, this like episode guides and overview of the series. This is so well done. I can't believe that Randall and Hopkirk Deceased has been given this level of treatment. I can't wait to watch this in HD because I've never seen the show in HD. Okay, now we have to talk about if. Ooh, fingers crossed. We got to make it through here. Magnum PI, the rebooted series. This is the modern. It was a 5-season show. I was super skeptical about this because I love the original, of course, Tom Selleck. That's the one I grew up with. I remember watching that when it was coming on television. That was appointment television. You know, you'd sit down in front of the TV with Magnum and Higgins, right? And TC and Rick. Okay. This, I was like, how can it? So, I watched the first episode. I'm like, well, it's pretty Because we're living in a world where they rebooted Hawaii Five-O and it went for like, I think it went for 10 years. This is a long time. So all these shows, there's like a whole infrastructure set up in Hawaii to film these shows, just like there was back in the day. Because if you know, Hawaii Five-O sort of begat Magnum PI. A lot of the same production crew, a lot of the same behind the scenes people. And there was this industry set up in Hawaii. And so Hawaii Five-O gets rebooted and it kind of brings all that back. So it shares, I think it's even a crossover with Hawaii Five-O with this Magnum series. I was just really skeptical about the whole thing, but within like 3 episodes, I was like, I think I love this. Now, you don't compare. You don't go, well, how does he compare to Tom Selleck? You go, no, this is in addition to. We have classic Magnum PI. This is an additional series. This is a new series. What I love about it is that they've, and this is going to trigger so many people. I don't care. I don't give a crap. They've gender swapped Higgins to be a woman who's formerly MI6, or she MI5. She's British Secret Intelligence. And she is awesome and tough. So now, so Higgins was always this, little man who's, like, oh, Magnum, you didn't put the toilet seat down. You're going to have to leave. There was always this like tension between Magnum and Higgins. Now it's sexual tension, right? Because they're super attractive to each other and they're both specialists in their field. So that's like, it's what the show needs for the reboot. Like, it's a way to make this different. Yes, there's a TC. Yes, there's a Rick. They bring back the original actors whenever they can to do like a torch passing kind of thing or an homage, right? It's just a lot of fun. So here's season 1. We got extras to Aloha Magnum launch promos, Magnum PI. Here, I'll just hold this up for you guys, and you can see clearly it's done with a lot of respect. The pilot episode, they have the car from the first. I don't think it's the actual car. Might be. They have the car that Magnum would drive. He always wears the baseball cap. See, the Detroit baseball cap. See, whoop. Got the Detroit cap on there. It's done with a lot of respect, but not beholden to the original series. And I just love it, man. Deleted scenes in a gag reel. We got deleted. I'm not showing you guys the special features here, am I? And again, this is a series that, like, okay, so I'm in the US, right? In Walmart's, this is on the DVD rack for like $79 or something like that for a DVD. I'm like, no. So I bought this series digitally because I wanted to see it in HD. Hawaii in HD, it's a no-brainer. So I watched this series digitally. And now I am so happy that there's a hard copy. And again, the only place in the world. This ViaVision release is the only legitimate Blu-ray release of this series anywhere in the world. And it comes serial at midnight, recommended. So let's look at the discs. I haven't even looked at the discs yet. Nice. Black uniform. Ooh. Okay. I'm not going to go through every single one of the... You know what? Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I'm tempting the hurricane fates so I can show you the inside art wraps of all of these. Oh, this is the cop, because Magnum's always at odds with the cops. So he's got this like love-hate relationship with the police department because they're like, Magnum, everywhere you go, you cause trouble. He's like, me? It's the same relationships. They've updated Vietnam to Afghanistan. They were prisoners of war. Magnum, Rick, TC, they were prisoners of war, and they went through the Gulf War. Not the Gulf War. That was 1990. They went through the Middle Eastern conflict of the last 20 years together, and they're brothers. And I just love it. It's like potato chips. And yes, we're all a little in love with Higgins now. It's awesome. It's great. All right, one more. Dun 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 dun. Okay, so that is Magnum PI. Yeah, and it has the music too. They've kept the theme song. It's just well done. If you liked the Hawaii Five-O reboot, and I did, there's no reason not to like it because again, it doesn't erase the classic Hawaii 5.0, and it does what it does respectfully of the first one. If you like that one, Magnum PI is really great. All right, that is this wave of Imprint, this month of Imprint. Let me know what you think about the movies, about the TV show, everything we talked about. Let me know what you think about it. Thanks again to Imprint. Remember my reviews, serial@midnight.com, Letterboxd, links in the description of this and every video. Thank you guys. Oh, if you like videos like this, please subscribe. Please give thumbs ups because that supports this video, these types of videos in the algorithm, that mysterious algorithm that is impossible to figure out. That helps me get in the algorithm so more people see this and there's more opportunities like this. So it's a good thing if you do that. Thank you. I appreciate you. Take care. Till next time, I will catch you later.